Hi YouTube, I hope you're all doing good. I am. It is so beautiful out today. It's probably out in the sun it's probably close to 50 degrees, but like 41 in the shade, so not too bad. Sunshiny, just amazing. I took the suggestion of Lionel Nation and I looked up, which I had heard about before, restorative justice. It's based on Native Americans would have, if they had somebody do something wrong, criminal in their society, they would make them work for the person that they caused harm to, you know. And that's been suggested in the criminal justice system, actually implemented in certain places. Now, I haven't seen a case, I didn't look maybe long enough to find out whether or not, if the victim, say if it was a violent crime of like uh, battery of some type, or rape or that type of violence, if the victim were to say no, she does not want to meet with her aggressor, that the case might be dropped. Now, I've heard that. I didn't actually run into a case through my reading this morning, but um, I've heard that that can happen. And it's been implemented in Canada and New Wales, and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. But, there's pros and cons with that whole thing because if a criminal can get off well, what should the punishments be? Number one. And number two, is it mandatory for? I mean, they say it's so the victim can forgive this person. Well, you can forgive a person without ever having to want to see them again or have them come and mow your lawn. I mean, if somebody assaulted me, I really wouldn't feel too comfortable having to be in the same room with them or same area, no matter what. So I don't know. I don't know. But I did look into it and read quite a bit about it. And how do you know if that criminal is actually remorseful? I mean, they can say whatever they want to say, but that doesn't make it true. Oops, excuse me. Um, yeah, so. And then I looked up the definition of marriage, and then there was, of course, what it says biblically, the union between a man and a woman, and the covenant that's made between the man and the woman no longer being one, or no longer being twain, two, but becoming one. And when this Marxist society starts changing definitions of words, I mean, a union between two people in a civil court, or a civil situation between whoever and whatever, and doing their taxes together, that's, one thing. But bringing what God doesn't join together before God and saying that that is a marriage, that is not the definition of marriage. Just because they changed the true meaning of it doesn't make it so. That's all I'm saying. What a person does, unless they're teaching a child away from God, is between them and God themselves. You know, just don't involve the children in all the bullshit that is not traditionally let the people who have a traditional marriage keep their definition of what a marriage is. The same with the woman. Let me keep my definition of what a woman is, because people who can't define that and people who call themselves something that isn't true takes away from the true meaning of what that is. And there's no reason for it. Be anything you want to be. Just stop saying you are something you're not. You know, that'd be like if you go to buy a Corvette and you get there and you already sent the money. So you sent the money and you're going to pick up your vet and you find out it's a Dodge 4x4. But you wanted to wear a formal gown and go to a really important um maybe a wedding. Maybe you wanted your Corvette and your formal gown to go to your child's wedding, or, but you get there and it's a truck, you know. That's the difference of what I'm talking about. It is as stark as that. It's true. I'm sure you could think of other examples of what I'm trying to say here, but, you know, and it's not the most major thing on the planet right now, I would say. But what it's a big deal that they're changing the definitions of words. If you've looked in and read about Marxism at all, um, that's the one of the number one ploys that they've used for generations. And I mean by they, the Dark Cabal, changing definitions of language to develop a system aimed towards people so the Dark Cabal can have their way with you, because you don't know the true definitions of the words and the etymology and where they stem from. And that's a major problem, you know. I mean, there's a lot of major problems on this planet, but, you know, it's like nudity. And, through the generations, some people would call a piece of art in it, even though it's a nude, like a sculptor or something. My, if I was over in Venice where there's many naked statues, I'd probably get arrested for putting clothes on them, because the children would be looking at it, and there's really no reason for that. Some people would call it art. I call it pornography. So I do think a little different than a lot of people. And it's not because I'm old fashioned. I could have lived 15,000 years ago and still told you the same thing. Put some clothes on that statue. I don't want to see it. Or what if it was you? What if it was a statue of you and everybody was like either thinking it's art or not thinking anything of it, or actually getting aroused because of it? Or I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying that everybody thinks differently on this planet. And my rights and my thoughts, for the most part, have never been respected on this planet. They've never been honored. Never. Nobody thinks like I think. And if they do, I don't know. I don't know about it. I haven't heard about it. Nobody's actually said, oh, hey, I actually feel the same way you do. Very rarely, you know. So just things on my mind today. So I think I'm high from cleaning my bathroom with the different cleaners that I use, like I'm in there snorting, scrubbing bubbles, you know. Yeah. It's a little harder than in the city because our water has a lot of minerals in it, which is good, but it has iron, lime, and calcium too. And the lime scale is hard to get rid of sometimes on porcelain or fiberglass. So, yeah, I'm letting it sit and then I got to go back and scrub. So I think I really, and I haven't smoked anything or nothing, so I'm like totally sober. It's just I think I am a little, yeah, something. It's like when you work in a body shop and if you're around, um, if you've ever been around uh, Bondo or paint fumes or, like isopropanol, that stuff is so lethal. Um, Doug got nerve damage because it seeps into your pores, and same with fingernail polish. It's isopropanol. It seeps into your pores, the membranes of your eyes and different parts of your body. It's unless you can find something that isn't made with that. And there are a couple products like that. If you wear polish, ladies, look, or whoever, look for the ones without isopropanol in it. And there's another ingredient, uh, benzodate. Wait, I can't think of it right now. It might come back to me. I used to know these things, but yeah, maybe I don't today. But I think you get what I'm talking about. So I don't think you can really make a paint that isn't toxic. Not that I know of. I think about the least toxic way to paint something, which is really cool too, is powder coating. If you know anything about that, they literally, the paint and the metal is magnetized. And a lot of products that we buy, um, like if it's a metal frame for a bed or furniture or different car parts and that type of thing, are powder coated. So that's kind of an interesting process how they do that. So yeah. Hey, give me your thoughts. I'm not gonna jump your shit if you think differently than me. It's like maybe it's like JP reacts or awaken with JP. I will share that one. He's got compiled the different times that some public officials have lied, and it's clearly a lie. Um, what they really think about gay marriage. JP reacts. And he's got Hillary Clinton and Obama and Biden. And I'm sure you've heard these people talk about it before, but just a refresher course on how they actually feel, because I haven't changed my mind as far as gay people being together. I've always thought, hey, if you love somebody, but don't try and call it what it isn't, and don't try and push it on the children. Those are sensible, loving towards everybody, not just one specific group, but including everybody, a way to work things out that doesn't offend anybody and keeps the children until they're ready to have their own sexual experiences, you know. But the thing with this world is sex is being pushed on the children. And that really fries me out. In fact, when I see people acting too overly sexual around children, you won't shut me up. I will say something to you. I don't care who you are or where I'm at. I'm going to say something. You know, I was, last time that happened to me, I was at a car show and they were giving the awards away at the end, and this woman humped on a man's leg. She's up, he had the microphone, she's standing next to him, and she grabbed him and started humping on his leg in front of the whole community. And I called her a gross bitch. And I said to Doug, I said, I'm leaving. And then some other really choice words to the people of my community that know me real well anyway, because I wrote an article in our paper. Uh, what are they teaching our children? You know? So, yeah, they know me pretty well. Like that, when it comes to standing up for kids, I'm not going to be quiet, not ever. And that's what it's all about, getting the next generation up. They don't care. That's the bottom line. They're going to say and do anything or change any word that suits what they want to do, regardless of who they bulldoze under along the way, just out of corporate greed. You know, look around. Are you as rich as they are? Do you think they got it from hard work and determination? They got it from blood money, from families that have stayed together for generations, interbreeding and ruling the rest of the people on the planet. I'm not too thrilled about it, especially in my country that does not belong to these creatures. Now they want to implement a Native American law, you know, um, something the Native restorative justice that has been done for centuries with the Native Americans. But oh, now it's a good thing to adopt the laws that the natives did long time ago. And why wasn't there so much crime within those societies? So maybe some good questions to think about. Who actually would be excellent leaders of their own country. And here's something else I saw that really fried me out for the Native Americans: going to the government and asking them for funds to have to like resurface roads or whatever. I can't remember what the actual issue was. Why should the First Nation have to ask of this illegitimate government? And I do mean a bastardized situation in my country, just like the Palestinians being the original people of Israel, and they're ostracized in their own country. That'd be like them having to go beg in Jerusalem, like they're doing, just to save their own lives and to have a better life. And you can say anything you want. Native Americans got this, got that. Oh no, they don't have um, the waterfall at Yosemite, and no, they don't have Mammoth Hot Springs in Yellowstone, and no, they don't have the most beautiful prime country they always had. And I'm going to boil it down to one term. It's called broken treaties. After that, it's broken treaties, period. There's nothing after that. It was the lie to begin with, and the persecution of them that has never been rectified, and the people taken out of power out of their own country. And I'm not going to let that lie still either for the First Nation until I see some skag, and I won't mention names. If when I see the scummy, skaggy, scuzzy people out of the District of Columbia, and I see the upstanding, strong, loving First Nation people leading their own country, I won't be happy till that happens. And I do know that there's two different types of bloodline within the Native Americans. One is totally fake and they do not belong here. And the other one um, are naturally from here and always have been. And genetics will prove that. They're trying to mix the DNA with Europeanness and the oh geez, it might come to me. There's another group of people that they're trying to lay claim to what is naturally the Native Americans, and it's disgusting how they say that people went over to Europe and then came back. And no, they were taken there, they were kidnapped, and they were bred, they were propagated, and it was all for a matter of implementing their own whims around the world, you know. So, yeah. I'm still trying to think of the Moors. That's what it was. The Moors are trying to lay claim, which were people that were taken out of Africa and northern Egypt, which are actually and originally people that were called the Phoenicians, which are a part of the Dark Cabal that bred with Native Americans in Europe and then came over to the Americas and tried to lay claim on that land, mostly on the East Coast because it didn't fly too well when they moved a little bit west and ran into some of my ancestors. Their shit didn't fly very well. And those people fought and held their ground and still own their ground because of their fights. So that's my blood. Some of it. I mean, I have some of their blood too, but I'm not going to claim it, you know. I think that's the part of my stomach that gets sick when I think of all their crap, you know. Yeah, sorry I got cut off yesterday. I was asking you if you wanted some escargot and some caviar. So, gross. Yes, I love to eat baby fish eggs. It's the most delicious thing in the world. I don't know. Yeah, if you got to put like cream cheese and caviar and capers and other stuff to disguise the taste, have you ever had caviar by itself? And people say about how they like to roll it around on their tongue before they swallow it. It's like, oh, just gag me before I take a bite, you know? I think I'd rather eat if you're like where the hors d'oeuvres are, or like Doug, or some people call horses ovaries, hors d'oeuvres. Um, it's spelt sort of like that. I'd rather have like olives or maybe a little square of cheese or something like where I'm not eating like 50 baby fish all at once and thinking I'm cool because of it, because the sturgeons that they use for the black, the Russian caviar, which is the most prized possession of all. Caviar is one of them, but the most expensive. Um, they're murdering the most ancient fish on the planet. And they say they can milk them to get that and whatever. The whole process is very disgusting, and they're actually monkeying with an endangered species. But I do live about 40 miles from a lake that's called Sturgeon Lake. We actually have a lake that's just like full of them, but that's here in Minnesota, and that's getting up towards the Boundary Water canoe area. You can't even have a motorized vehicle up in there. But yet, there's people around the country that think green this, green that, like they're the first ones that ever started doing anything like that. That's pretty amazing when I look at somebody like Greta Thunberg or however you say her wrinkly face, snarly, however you say her last name, um, Thunberg. Uh, That's disgusting, having children out there screaming at adults that have taken care of this planet their entire life. That is thoroughly disgusting to me. Good thing she's an adult now. I can diss on her and not feel bad. When she was a stupid child, I felt sorry for her. Now that she's an adult, she can go fuck herself. You know. I think I've aired my opinions on a few things today. And I also do think that you'll find it um, refreshing. Don't ignore the language that these people in the public eye use towards um, marriage and what they believe marriage is deep in their heart. And then they change that. I've never changed how I felt with any gay people that I've been around or anything. I'm still me, and nobody's ever hated me. No, never. And they've never disrespected how I felt until all this fucking bullshit with their changing language and their Marxist ways to introduce us to communism. And wait till you're on their communist list. You're going to have to beware of the liars, is what I'm telling you. You are being tricked. You are. I'm giving you straight up what they're trying to do to you and why they're trying to do it, to destroy the next generation. And you people have just openly put themselves on a list of damnation of the lesser thans in the eyes of these creatures that have lied you. So they tell you a lie and they act on your information, judged and provided the lie for people's downfall. And you don't even realize it. That's the thing. Things that I think all hell is going to break loose. Hopefully not. Hopefully, a lot of these things, if they change the language back to what is actual and real and give everybody from any descriptive side a feeling of belonging and of love and actually including everybody in the language, we can work it out as